Welcome back to Wake Up America Week. We caught you there with your notebook.
That's right.
Alison, Maloni, time now for your week in business. President Biden expected to sign the infrastructure bill this week. For more on this, let's bring in the money men, starting with business and market analyst and Newsmax contributor Seth Denson, and America's accountant and accounting professor at Montclair State University, Deanne Geltrude. Good morning to you, gentlemen, bright and early today. Seth, morning. I'll start with you. 5 Republican senators are expected to send a letter tomorrow saying that they will withhold their support from the spending bill over a lack of border wall funding. Now, the list includes Indiana's Mike Braun, Florida's Marco Rubio, Utah's Mike Lee, Wyoming's Cynthia Lummis, and from your home state of Texas, Ted Cruz. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I got 2 thoughts. The first is I can understand why they're sending this letter, although this is symbolic, and that's really it. But the second thought is I think the administration is going to go, okay, you aren't going to support the bill anyway. So this is largely a symbolic gesture. I don't think any of those senators were going to jump on to be in support of this bill anyway. I can appreciate the why and the reasoning, but this is just Washington politics, right? We got to tell you why we don't like something, and we weren't going to support it anymore.
Makes sense.
Dan, the consumer price index up 6.2%, the biggest jump in 30 years. I think we talked about this yesterday. If you actually annualize it, we're now talking about over 10% inflation on an annual basis. So we've had a lot of scary statistics out of October. Does that stress the need for a pause on additional spending? Because Joe Biden says, oh no, we need to spend more money.
Now, spending more money, Tom, is exactly what we don't need to do. And I think we're going to start to approach really a critical point where people are just not going to accept the cost of goods and services. It's really getting to the point where people are saying, I can't afford this stuff anymore. And you see it whether you're in the grocery store or you're getting gas. It's the essentials. And that's why inflation, I would say, is the most insidious type of tax, because we don't call it a tax, but it has the same impact and worse than a tax.
Yeah, absolutely. So something we don't hear a lot about with this infrastructure bill is that a lot of these projects, right, roads and bridges, they're not going to happen right away. They sometimes take years. You know, President Biden said this is going to create jobs, this is going to get us on the right track, but it could take years for these jobs to be created.
Yeah, one of the most inefficient businesses in the United States is the United States government. And let's be very clear that they can spend money, but getting the money actually where it's needed is the big problem here. And so, yeah, I think there's this idea that we're going to go out and we're going to drive on better roads and bridges tomorrow. But no, it's estimated that it's 2023, 2024 before dollars even start to go out. And it's likely 25 and 26 before we actually see anything happen with those dollars. So, yes, and I would agree we need to spend some money on roads and bridges. If you've driven across our country lately, which I have, it's in pretty rough shape. There's a lot of other things in this bill, though, that maybe weren't infrastructure. So we'll see how that all pans out. But needless to say, it's going to take a while for those jobs and things that it's going to create to get going.
Dan, I want to get your reaction to what Seth said, because I think this is something that's really been lost, and that is that Biden says we needed to pass this so that we could help turn the economy around. But we've seen in the past that it does take years for this money to get into the economy, for jobs to be created, even for the infrastructure to get built.
Yeah, there is a delay. I mean, we all remember that famous phrase about shovel-ready jobs. I mean, what were they really shoveling, right? I mean, it was ridiculous, and that's the whole point. By the time we get around to creating whatever this bill is going to create as far as real infrastructure, I mean, we're going to be past the time frame that we really need this to start, which is today. I totally agree we need infrastructure, but there's a lot of other pork in this bill that we certainly do not need.
Yeah, a lot of media is not talking about that either. Seth, how do you think the markets will react once this bill is signed?
Listen, markets are going to react positively, at least in the short term. They like it when Washington spends money because they know that they're going to start lobbying and jockeying for whatever that money's going to be, and it's going to stay in their coffers for a bit. So, yeah, I think this is going to just give the market another reason to go up, which they don't seem to need a lot of reasons to do that anymore. But I think on the back end, but that's going to be years down the road, we're going to see a correction in large part because of all of this government spending.
Dan, to Seth's point about the jockeying for position and who's going to get this money, It gives members of Joe Biden's administration, like Pete Buttigieg, we were just talking about this, over $126 billion over the next few years to spread around. This is the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, now can dole out $126 billion. How do we even ensure that this is not just going to all go for political favors?
Well, Tom, I'm going to reverse that and ask you a question, and everybody in the audience, what could possibly go wrong with that?
Nothing.
I mean, it seems like it'll work. Seriously, I mean, any time that you're going to leave that type of judgment for people to allocate money, where do you think it's going to go? It's going to go to what suits them best politically, not what is best for the nation. So unless we're really allocating these funds where they need to specifically go, which is for true infrastructure,
Right.
Yeah.
I think we're headed for trouble.
All right, well, I hope not, but we'll see. All right, thank you, Seth Denson, Dan Gelter. We're going to see you in the next hour. We appreciate it. And as we head to the break, don't forget to download the Newsmax app, do what millions of others have done, and take us with you everywhere you go. You're watching Wake Up America Weekend, only on Newsmax.